Hey everybody. So I wanted to make this little video doing a breakdown on one of the classic Black Ops 2 multiplayer maps. And this isn't going to necessarily be a breakdown of the layout of the map, but it's going to be a more breakdown of the details on the map. Because a lot of these classic COD maps from the BO1 to Modern Warfare 3 era, a lot of them had small little details on them that kind of told a story. And I want to take a look at the map Hijacked today because there's some interesting details on this map that I always noticed, but I never really put much attention to whenever I was playing it back in the day. Alright, so let's load into some Hijacked right here, and I'm going to take you through the little story and the sort of behind the scenes and details that are on this map.
Free for all. No prisoners.
So obviously we have the map Hijacked. Now of course the name of the map is actually very relevant to the story of this map. So obviously we have the ship here and the map is called Hijacked. So on this side of the spawn, because there's two spawns in Team Deathmatch and in Domination, one team spawns over here, and then if it's free for all, people spawn all over the place. But on this side of the map, there's always this little detail. If you look on the mini-map there, there's like a little thing that juts out on the top there of the extends the ship a little bit, and it's these little boats. And what these are, you can actually stand on these things. I know a lot of people probably remember these things. If you want to camp back here, people who used to do boosting, they would put their tac inserts back here and sort of use it to get free kills on with teammates and whatnot. But these little boats are here for a very specific purpose, because they are the boats that the hijackers, in the name of the map, the hijacked boat, these are the boats that they use to get onto the boat. So come up here and we see that the hijackers would then come from those boats that they used to infiltrate the ship. They would come through here, and as we see, you have some workout equipment that's kind of laid out, strewn around here. And as we go through more of the map, you see the underground tunnel there. Things are kind of turned over. It's almost as if they were taking defensive positions right here. And as you can see, there's a blood splatter already on the walls here, because there's a story of this map. And it's all about the people who hijack the boat and how they progressively go through the map and eliminate everyone on the ship to take it over. So we see here that the hijackers broke the upper window here. You see some bullet shells and casings here and some bullet holes. So obviously there was a gunfight. The guys who hijacked the ship came around the corner, got seen probably by one of the boat's security guards, and they started to get fired upon. Maybe a grenade or a flashbang was launched, or perhaps the flashbang was thrown into the room from this position, and then they started taking on some fire. And as we can see here, after they came up here, they progressed up into this upper story here. And the window seems to have been broken or blown out, so that way whoever was up here could get a better vantage point of the ship. Come back around here. There doesn't seem to be any damage here because the fighting started to happen towards the center of the ship. There's some bullet casings here, so perhaps people who were on the ship may have taken this chair right here and started to take up defensive positions of people that were coming around the corner. You can see there's a story, a progressing of intensive fighting that keeps on going throughout the ship. There's some bullet holes here, and as you can see, this door flies open and it closes right here. And there's some bullet holes and gunfire and shell casings right here. So it's appearing that this door was originally closed and it was then opened after the hijackers gained some ground here, and they pushed it open further so they could have access to this side path here. So the hijackers came up here. There was some gunfire. Somebody was taken out, probably from either this doorway here or maybe the position up there, and somebody was killed. Most likely somebody that was already on the ship and guarding, which I'm going to call, there is a corrupt millionaire that is maybe under the targeting of some mercenaries. And we'll, when we get into that building and that part of the ship, I'll explain that. There's some more fighting here, more shell casings, and more blood splatter. This is where the majority of the fighting took place. So it's pretty obvious that the hijackers gained a defensive position up here, and maybe even they gained some position here, and they started to fire upon whoever was taking defensive positions in this part of the map. And as we see here, there's the jacuzzi. I don't think there's any details in here. No bullet holes around this area. But around here, we see a little bit more. And right here, a grenade explosion. Some more casings right here. This is definitely where the majority of the fighting took place. You see more shell casings over here. So this is probably people who were taking defensive positions. And maybe they got grenaded and blown up. And they got discombobulated and whatnot. And then obviously, this is another area, another position that the hijackers probably took. They came in here, they moved up a little further, took a little offensive position, and started to fire from this position right here. And there's no bullet holes here. This grenade was probably thrown either from this window by the hijackers or maybe from another position here. And this is the interesting part. More bullet holes probably fired from that position over here to get somebody who is defending, because this right here, as we can see, there's some dirt and grime on the ground, and most importantly, this massive blood splatter and blood pool. So when the hijackers were coming from that position and they opened up the door that they were shooting at earlier, there was an unfortunate, unlucky soul who was defending this position, who probably got fired upon from both that direction and this direction. And as you can see here, there's another door that has a lot of bullet holes in it. So this door was probably also closed, and all these bullets were probably put into the door from this position. They got shot against the door. They opened it up to try to get some reprieve and probably defend themselves, and that's when they were finally shot and killed from this long hallway here. And now is where the majority of the story of the map takes place. Probably another infiltration from underground. And let's take a look down here, see if there's any interesting details we can find in the underground area. See if there's any bullets, casings, or maybe gunfire, or blood. It doesn't appear to be anything. So quite possibly the hijackers came in, they managed to sneak through this position here to get a very good infiltration onto this main building here. And this area here, let's see if there's anything here, because this is where their target was. Inside of this part of the ship, this is where their target was. And they needed to cut him off and infiltrate it before he got onto his helicopter to escape. And if we take a look over here, maybe there's some grime, maybe some helicopter engine fluid. There's some more bullets, more bullet casings, but no bullet holes on this side. So it's probable that this was one of the hijackers who managed to circle back around to get a good vantage point on the upper window there. So it looks like the hijackers, because there doesn't seem to be any, there's some wet spots here, but no blood and no bullet holes. So it's quite possible that one of the hijackers managed to flank all the way to this position and start firing up into that upper window up there. And now let's take a look into this part of the ship where the majority of the story takes place. So as we can see here, bullet casings and bullet holes all over this room here. This is where the majority of the fighting took place. Probably another defensive position here, or maybe the hijackers came in, they took a little preemptive position here, they started firing on whoever was defending, and obviously the defenders had to retreat even further, as you can see from the bullet holes that were being fired upon them. So this is where the last line of defense was taking place from the people who were defending the ship. So the hijackers came in through this door here. The defenders were being outgunned and outmaneuvered. They're getting pushed in hard. Probably a guy jumped in behind that table like I did, and then they were pushed up, and somebody was finally shot. And you see we have two sets of bullet casings here, one kind of in this spot and one kind of in this spot. The first one was most likely the defensive position, and the second one was when the hijackers came up and they finally took out the last line of defense for whoever's ship this was. Now is where we get to the very interesting part of the story. So now that we have all lines of defense are being taken out from whoever was left on this ship, we see here that the glass is broken inwards, not outwards. There's no glass on the floor down here, which leans even more to my evidence that whoever was over here was definitely a part of the attacking hijackers team, and they were shooting in the glass. So that way, whoever was up here, probably taking a look out here, got shot at, and they fell back even further into this defensive room. And now comes the very interesting part, because this room in here is the last line of defense for the poor unfortunate souls who were on the ship. So, guy was killed defending this part of the ship. It's very clear that this right here was a door that was the last line of defense for their target. And obviously, from taking a look at the door here, it was completely blown off of the hinges, maybe shot off the hinges, who knows. There were some bullet holes on this side, so maybe some ricocheting from when this man was shot here. So, glass was broken in, everybody was falling back to this room. We have a key card, locked door. Obviously, busting in from two different positions wouldn't be too advantageous, and obviously, if the hijackers were going to be making an infiltration, they definitely wouldn't want to try to risk coming up from this ladder here, because then there could be a man right here ready to shoot them. So that's why they probably shut out the windows to get them to fall back into this room. And this room right here is where the main story takes place. The door is busted in by the hijackers, and as we can see here, this is where all of the chaos and carnage took place. Whoever's ship this was, I have no doubt that they were sitting in this chair right here, probably surrounded by their guards or hired guns or whoever was to protect them, and they were unfortunately shot and killed, and this is their blood. As we can see here, there's a lot of shells and bullets from defensive positions probably early on, and then they decided to all fall back into this room here. I think this is a sliding door. I don't know if they destroyed this door or what. So the question is, why would the hijackers come onto the ship? What was their goal? What was their purpose? Just to assassinate somebody? Well, it's possible that that's what it was, but as you can see here, this huge blood splatter on the wall here, perhaps they were even shot from this position here. I mean, there's a lot of fire being levied at their position from that window down there and from the infiltrators coming up through the door, but I most likely believe that they were here to get what the contents of this safe is. Look at how big this safe is. Securitech, which if you know anything from the Call of Duty Zombies mode, that's the same safe manufacturer that made the safe on the map Transit. So as you can see here, this thing was blown open, most likely with a high explosive, and they ransacked everything that was in here. There's a file right there. It's kind of hard to read what it was. I'm gonna blow that up later if we can try to figure out what that says. But obviously, there was probably some very important files and documents and information, possible blackmail. I mean, you know, the rich people and all their secrets. So this was blown open, and I think that the hijackers were here to kill whoever was on this ship and recover the information that was hidden within here. As you can see, there's no dollar bills or any kind of cash left on the ground, which normally there would be if this was a money-based thing. As we can see here, worldwide cyber attack, Cortesia infrastructure. Perhaps the hijackers of this ship were working for Cortesia, and they were coming in here to maybe retrieve some documentation and some files that would better lead them into infiltrating the United States military and the worldwide infrastructure. It's all speculation, but as we can see here, there's definitely a story being told. And every time I would play this map, you always notice these small little details. Whatever happened on this ship, whoever was killed and for whatever purpose, it all has to do with the contents of this safe right here. And whatever it was it appears to be 100% cleared out. And maybe, just maybe, the people that we are playing as, the the United States military and the Cordestia mercenaries in the multiplayer, perhaps we are acting out the very story that is happening and unfolded on this ship. So there you go. There is the story of Hijacked, the hidden story rather of this map. I always thought that this was such an interesting little thing when maps have background details like this, because it's not just a playable space, but somebody put thought enough into this, and there's definitely someone at Treyarch who made this map who definitely knows what this is all about. So if you like this video, be sure to give it a like, and maybe next time, whenever we get to the next map, I'll take you through another map that has a similar, interesting little story to it.